Hello, everyone. This is Cody Lee of BlackCatBooks.org, author of I, the Dragon, Cruel and Beautiful Rabbit Hole Lore and Fray and the upcoming Jaw of the Dragon. One of the things I've been interested in the past couple of years is talking about Pokemon games, specifically their reception and how people have been downplaying them for the longest time. This isn't anything new. Pokemon has consistently been one of the biggest selling video game franchises on the planet since its inception, but certain groups of people really love to downplay that and pretend they don't exist or they're not relevant or anything like that. And, I feel as if over the past couple of years, I kind of lost sight of calling these people out because I think, with the Switch generation, I kind of bought into the whole Let's Go thing and the whole Pokemon Sword and Shield thing. And to a lesser extent, Scarlet and Violet, where I legitimately thought that there was potential for, maybe these games aren't as good as past games. Maybe the team is losing sight of their of the what's important. Maybe they're going downhill. I was willing to give people the benefit of the doubt for that. And that lasted until I actually played the games and had a really good time with them. And unfortunately, because of how busy I've been this entire Switch generation, I haven't really talked a lot about how I feel about that. It feels like I only really talk about Pokemon when a new game comes out and I kind of come out and do a review and say it's great. I really do need, going forward, to talk more about how I don't respect the criticisms of the Pokemon franchise. I think the vast majority of the people who talk shit about Pokemon don't know anything about it and are just talking out of their ass. And I think a really good example of that is this assertion among non-fans, among people who don't play Pokemon, who don't know anything about it, that the games are unchanged from when they first released in 1995. The games haven't evolved at all. They haven't changed. They haven't done anything new or different or innovative. It's just the same thing over and over and over again. Now, I've heard this argument since Gen 2, and arguably even before that, with the different versions and stuff like that. But Gen 2, I have explicit memories of people in my family insisting that Gen 2 was the exact same thing as Gen 1. People who didn't actually play the game or really know anything about it. And anyone who actually plays Gen 2 knows about all the changes they made. They introduced the day-night cycle, a whole new region to explore, 2 new types of Pokemon, 100 new types of Pokemon in general, balance changes, adjustments to the meta. There are all these things that made Gen 2 remarkably different than the first generation. And of course, Gen 3 made some wild changes on top of that, new moves, new areas to explore, diving, secret bases. Gen 3 is not my favorite generation by any means, but there are certainly a lot of things that really radically changed from Gen 2. A lot of things that I think I prefer. I think I prefer the Pokemon designs in Gen 3 more. I think the region is one of the most unique and beautiful we've ever gotten. I think Gen 3 had a lot of great aspects to it, right? Gen 4, we got a lot of new updates. The best remakes we ever got with Soul Silver and Heart Gold. We got Gen 5 eventually with all those innovations, right? These games just constantly grow and evolve and constantly just introduce new concepts rather quickly. So quickly, I think, that a lot of people don't realize just how much Game Freak and the Pokemon Company actually do to keep this IP relevant. And that's the key word here, relevant, is that we've been told that Pokemon is on the verge of dying since the 90s, since Pokemania ended, right? According to the society, Pokemon died a long time ago, but in reality, it's the most popular media brand in the world. The games constantly sell 15 to 20 million units, the best-selling handheld games ever made, a hugely popular franchise with a really quick turnaround time. We've been getting new games, new generations every 3 years with side games and spin-offs, remakes interspersed in between them, right? I have no patience for people who say Pokemon is stale, boring, or uninspired, because what they've been doing for the past 30 years has been endlessly entertaining. And playing Scarlet and Violet and seeing how much they've innovated with like the open world setting, with like the new mechanics, with like some of the things they've done, like I find myself like really really enamored with what they've been doing with Pokemon Scarlet, with Gen 9, right? I find that the complaints regarding like Pokemon's lack of evolution to be completely ridiculous. It's absurd, really, when you compare Pokemon to like other franchises like it. Call of Duty has been going on. The first Call of Duty game came out like what, like 2003, something like that. And they've been released annually since then. Like Call of Duty has evolved significantly less than Pokemon has. And that is like objectively speaking. Like Call of Duty has done nothing new, right? Like that's what that's what a true video game franchise that doesn't evolve looks like. Like that is what Call of Duty is. What happens when you don't innovate or change at all. Like there is nothing fundamentally different between the new Call of Duties and like Modern Warfare. Like there has been no evolution, there has been no change, has been no adjustments. Like people only like Call of Duty because it's a generic military action game that they've been playing since they were little kids. All right. That is the appeal of Call of Duty for these people, as opposed to like Pokemon, which is an innovative, unique, fun fantasy adventure game where you get to be the Beastmaster and set Pokemon against each other and like capture more and more powerful monsters and improve your skills, improve yourself to be the best there ever was. Pokemon is awesome. It always has been. I've always enjoyed it. And, even as an adult, like I find myself getting like really enraptured with Scarlet and Violet and what that game is doing. I find it like baffling that so many people are saying that like these games don't evolve, that these games don't change. It is a cope. That is the reality we're dealing with here, is that like Pokemon does change. It does evolve. It does like reach the next level, so to speak. But the people who say otherwise, they don't appreciate that. They don't understand what Pokemon has done as a brand, as a series. And like I think a big part of that, like people don't realize this. Pokemon sequels come out a lot more quickly than sequels to other games. All right. People don't appreciate this, but while people are waiting like a decade for like The Witcher 4 or whatever, a decade or longer for The Witcher 4 or whatever, like Pokemon fans can expect to get like a high quality new sequel in 3 years with like a reasonable amount of like new content, changes, and new Pokemon. All right. Like the Pokemon formula of like being rather low budget, of sticking to like what works and doing what it's doing, it's clearly working for them, and nobody really wants to admit it. Like the same people who are attacking Pokemon right now are also praising Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, which is laughable to me. It's ridiculous to see like how hypocritical a lot of these people are. I think Pokemon is going to be here for a very, very long time. I don't think it's going anywhere. But the fact that so many people are refusing to acknowledge that Pokemon is a mainstay, high quality franchise in the video game industry, it's really sad. I am getting very, very tired of seeing like pointless, empty complaints lobbied at Pokemon simply to downplay the fact that it's such a high quality IP.